بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. This is our final session about Fiqh, introduction to Fiqh, and as you remember we discussed in the second part of last session about Ijtihaad and Taqlid. We clarified the meaning of Ijtihaad, and we said we have two types of Ijtihaad, Ijtihaad mutlaq, Ijtihaad mutajazzi. And then we said Taqlid means to do your action in compliance with the fatwa of a mujtahid. Then we mentioned reasons for Taqlid. We said it is, first of all, a rational practice that people do in different fields of life. Also, we said that there are many hadiths that talk about this. There are also some verses of the Quran that ask people to refer to those who know, or ask people that they should go and learn and then teach their own people, like Ayatul Nafra. لولا نفر من كل فرقة منهم طائفة ليتفقهوا في الدين ولينذروا قومهم إذا رجعوا إليهم. Why? If all people cannot travel to learn, why from every group some don't travel and learn and then go back to their people and warn them? Question: if these people are going to learn and then people don't follow them, what's the benefit? Yes? So, we talked about different reasons for taqlid. And we said this actually didn't start in the time of occultation or ghaibah. It was happening in the time of imams. Even Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, for example, said to Aban ibn Taghlib, I like to have more people like you among my Shia who sit in masjid and give fatwa. Imam asked him to sit in masjid in Medina and give fatwa, and said, I like to have more people like you. Okay, now the next question is, does marja, or marji', if you want to say it more correctly, does marji' need to be the most knowledgeable, or it's just enough to be knowledgeable? Okay, does marja' have to be a'lam, means the most knowledgeable, or it's just enough that he is a mujtahid and is mutlaq, mujtahid mutlaq, but not the most knowledgeable? But no one has said you can do taqlid of someone who is not mujtahid. Okay, and please be very careful. If people call someone Ayatollah, this is not hujjat. On the day of judgment, you cannot say, everyone was saying Ayatollah, so Ayatollah. This is not hujjat. Actually, some people, maybe their father has called them Ayatollah. Maybe this is the name in their passport, there's Ayatollah. So Ayatollah is not a hujjah. We need a mujtahid, and like any other discipline, you must have recognition from the society of that field. Society of mujtahideen should say he is a mujtahid. Yeah? Who says someone is doctor? Who says someone is lawyer? Must be that society. Not lay people in that field. Yeah? So if, for example, 100 lawyers say, 100 doctors say, 100 businessmen say, this person is Ayatollah, is it hujjah for you? It's not hujjah for you. If some talaba say this is Ayatollah, is it hujjah for you? No. If someone has a hujjah, is it hujjah for you that he is mujtahid? No. These are not hujjah. The only hujjah is that you go home, you go to Najaf, you go to Mashhad, you ask top ulama. Agha, who is today mujtahid who can give fatwa? Not even ask any alim. Top ulama in every major hawza, ask them, who are people that today in this age with peace of mind we can do taqlid of them? It's very rational. Don't take any risk. Okay. So, certainly has to be mujtahid mutlaq, and this must be verified by society or circle of mujtahidin, top scholars. Does marja need also to be most knowledgeable or not? Some ulama say it doesn't need to be most knowledgeable. Why? Because they say when we refer to experts, we don't necessarily try to go to the most knowledgeable expert. For example, if you want an engineer, if you want a doctor, if you want an architect in London, do you go to the most knowledgeable person and most experienced person in that field or no? They say it's not necessary. We can go to someone who has the enough and adequate credentials. We don't need to go to the best. And therefore they say, because the main reason, according to them, for ijtihaad and taqlid, or you can say for taqlid, is sirah uqala, the conduct of uqala, and uqala maybe they don't require to go to a'lam. Also they say, Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, when they said, for example, you can go to Yunus ibn Abdul Rahman or Aban ibn Taghlab or Zakaria ibn Adam, this was the time that they themselves were there. For sure, their knowledge was not like Imams. But Imam didn't say, don't ask them, ask me, because I am more knowledgeable. Or even, they didn't say, is there anyone more knowledgeable than that person or not? Okay, so some people argue in this way. They say, therefore, we don't need to find the most knowledgeable. But there are ulama who say that no, it must be most knowledgeable. Most of actually our ulama say it has to be most knowledgeable. Why? Because when something is of utmost importance, suppose there is a disease, God forbids, that it's very difficult to diagnose, or it's diagnosed but the treatment is very difficult, and doctors have different opinions, what do? Do you go to any doctor, or you try to find the best doctor, the most knowledgeable and experienced doctor? You know, if you don't know, there is difference of opinion, it's okay. But if you know something is that sensitive that doctors don't agree, they have different opinions, then you have to go to the best one. So, do we know that there are different opinions among maraji, or we don't know? We know that there are different fatwas. So we cannot, say, no, I didn't know. I thought they are all saying the same thing. No. When they have different opinions, or as we say in Usul al-Fiqh, there is ilm ijmali, means we know that some issues they differ, not 100%, not even maybe 50%, maybe 20%, maybe 10%. But we know that they differ in some of the fatwas. So, what should I do to be on the safe side? I try to find the most knowledgeable person. If I follow the most knowledgeable person, am I taking any risk? Is anyone stopping me and saying, no, you must not follow the most knowledgeable. There is a problem here. No. But if I follow the one who is not most knowledgeable, this is risky. Okay? Plus, in the time of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, Ijtihaad was not like today. Aban ibn Taqlid was not doing ijtihad like Maraj today. It was very simple. They just needed to hear ahadith from Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, which hadith is authentic, which not, and quickly applies to the case. They had very simple form of ijtihad. And therefore there was no need to go to Imam alayhi salam. You could ask them. And for sure, if someone was not sure what Imam Sadiq thinks, he would not give any fatwa and said, let me ask Imam alayhi salam. But nowadays, ijtihad is very complicated. It's not just narrating hadith. So at that time, Ahlul Bayt didn't ask people to go to A'lam, the most knowledgeable, because ijtihad was very simple. Now ijtihad is very, very complicated. Okay? Like for example, even today, maybe for GP, you don't need to go to the most knowledgeable GP. But when it comes to a specialist, maybe you go to the best. If, understand? The third, actually we have hadith that says you have to go to A'lam. You cannot say you don't need to go to A'lam. Let me refer to some of the hadith that says in our learning of religion and also leadership, we need to go to A'la. For example, there is a famous hadith, we call it Maghbuliyya Umar ibn Hanzaleh. Umar ibn Hanzaleh asked Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, what should we do when we receive conflicting, for example, opinions? And Imam alayhi salam gives him answer and finally reaches this point that two parties, they have differences and each of them asks, an alim, but these alims differ. Imam said, al-hukmu ma hakama bihi a'daluhuma wa afqahuhuma wa astaquhuma fil hadith wa awra'uhuma wa la yultafatu ila ma yahkumu bihi al-akhar. Al-hukm, the judgment, the verdict is the verdict of the one among these two who is more just, more knowledgeable, more truthful in hadith, and the judgment of the other person is not followed. So when two faqih, two alim differ in their judgment, we should go to the one who is more knowledgeable and more pious. This is one case. Amirul Mu'mineen, in his instruction for Malika Ashtar, when he appointed him as governor of Egypt, when he talks about conditions of judge, who can be judge? Imam said, ثُمَّ اخْتَرْ لِلْحُكْمِ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ أَفْضَلَ رَعِيَّتِكَ فِي نَفْسِكَ. Choose for judging among people the best of your subjects in your heart, in yourself. It means, who is the best? Choose them as judge. Not the second best, not any good person, the best. When we have the best, we shouldn't go for the second best. Rasul Akram, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, فَمَنْ دَعَ النَّاسَ إِلَى نَفْسِهِ وَفِيهِمْ مَنْ هُوَ أَعْلَمُ مِنْهِ لَمْ يَنْظُرِ اللَّهُ إِلَيْهِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. If someone calls people towards himself and says, follow me, either in political leadership, community leadership, Marja'iyya. He calls people towards himself while there is someone who is more knowledgeable than him. Allah doesn't look at him on the day of judgment. In another hadith, Rasulullah said, "Man taqaddama ala qawmin min al-Muslimin, wa huwa yara anna fihim man huwa afdalu min." If someone precedes other and puts himself in a leadership position while he knows there is someone better than him, فَقَدْ خَانَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ وَالْمُسْلِمِينَ. He has betrayed Allah and the Messenger and Muslims. So, if someone is better than you, how can then you put yourself in the position of marja'iyya? It's very difficult to say, no, it doesn't matter. Imam Jawad alayhi salam said to his uncle who was giving fatwa, Ya Am, إنه عظيم عند الله أن تقف غدا بين يداي فيقول لك لم تفتئ عبادي بما لم تعلم وفي الأمة من هو أعلم منك. This would be great, means something that you cannot tolerate, that on the day of judgment you stand before Allah and Allah says, why did you give fatwa to my servants while there was in Ummah someone more knowledgeable than you? Imam Hassan alayhi salam, in response to Muawiyah, when Muawiyah made a big khutbah and claimed, wrong things, Imam Hassan alayhi salam referred to a hadith from the Prophet. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله ما ولت أمة أمرها رجلا وفيهم من هو أعلم منه إلا لم يزل أمرهم يذهب سفالا حتى يرجعوا إلى ما تركوا. No nation have given wilayah, have given their leadership to a person while there is a person more knowledgeable, unless their affairs goes always from bad to worse, unless they return and make the one who was more knowledgeable their leader. فقد تركت بنو إسرائيل هارون وهم يعلمون أنه خليفة موسى فيهم. When Musa went to receive tablets, Harun was Khalifa. Yeah. As قال موسى لأخي هارون اخلفني في قومي. They didn't listen to him. What happened? Then they started worshipping calf. وقد تركت هذه الأمة أبي وبايعوا غيره. Imam Hassan says, unfortunately this ummah left my father, Imam Ali, and then they went to someone else, and now the situation is that now Muawiyah is this is the situation. Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam says, Inna awla nas bil anbiya a'lamuhum bima ja'u bih. The people who have more right to speak on behalf of prophets are those who have more knowledge about what the prophets have brought. Al-ulama'u warathatul anbiya. But which alim has more inheritance? The one who has more knowledge. In Nahjul Balagha again, Imam Ali says, Ya ayyuhan nas, inna ahaqqa nas bihadha al-amr aqwahum alayh wa a'lamuhum bi amrillah. The one who has more right for this, means for leadership, is the one who is more capable and more knowledgeable. He knows the command of Allah better and is more capable. Imam Baqir alayhi salam said, Wallahi ahabbu ashabi ilayya. By Allah, the most lovable companions of me are awra'uhum wa afqahuhum wa aktamuhum lahadithana. The one who is more pious, most most knowledgeable, and most secretive, means can keep secrets. You remember when we had followership, we said one of the qualities of good follower is to keep things confidential, to hide our hadiths which are not supposed to be public. Some hadiths are for public, some hadiths are internal. Okay, we have, I think, enough to say that marja'iyya, as a person who has a scholarly position, but also a person that has leadership position, because no one can think that marja is just a scholar. Marja is also a leader. And how can we such hadith, we say we go for someone who is not the most knowledgeable? It doesn't look, right. Now, what is the meaning of a'lam? This is a very good discussion. Of course, scholars have discussed this issue, and I mentioned just some of the opinions of scholars so that you have some idea what is a'lamiyya. Because people may think a'lamiyya means the one who has bigger imamah. If you have bigger imamah, then he's, or the one who has more people walk. For example, someone walks, 100 people walk with him. Oh, mashallah, this must be very a'lam because he has 100 students. Or the one who gives more shahriya to students. No, these are not signs of a'lamiyya. Even the sign of a'lamiyya is not that he has more books. Someone maybe has no books. Maybe someone has hundreds of books. It's not sign of a'lamiyya. What is the sign of a'lamiyya? What do we mean by a'lamiyya? Sheikh al-Ansari says in Matarikh al-Anwar, Al-a'lamu man kana aqwa malakatan wa ashadda istinbatan بحسب القواعد المقررة. Ijtihaad is a malaka. What does it mean? Means is an ability which has become a permanent quality for someone. That whenever you raise to him a question, he has the ability to go to the sources and comes back with answer. This is malakatul ijtihad. Okay? This malaka is very important. Like for example, driving, swimming, all should become like part of your nature. If you are driving but you have to 100% focus and still you forget certain things, at the beginning you are 100% focusing and still you forget. You have not developed malaka for driving. But the one who means can easily make all the things properly, proper decision, and still maybe can also talk. So, Sheikh Ansari says, A'lam is the one who has a stronger malakatul ijtihad. So two people who are mujtahid, but the one who has a stronger quality of forming decisive opinions about rulings. According to the rules, maybe someone claims very easily, there are people that you ask them questions, right away they give you answer. Don't be deceived. any person who just gives you answer without a study, you have to doubt. Mujtahid has to go back, study, unless he has already done his own research. But people, sometimes I see, they make such a, childish arguments and say, based on this is my view. This is childish. You must go and check all the sources, opinions of other maraji, other fuqaha in the course of history and see, is there anything to affect this issue or not? When a patient comes to you as a doctor, you cannot just quickly decide. You have to see, is this maybe right now a new disease? Maybe this is a germ. Maybe other doctors, have had these cases, what they have found. Maybe this medicine doesn't work for this. You cannot quickly, every person comes, just take the pen and, write something. So, بحسب القواعد المقررة, according to the rules of ijtihad. وَنَعْنِي بِهِ, and we mean by having a stronger malakatul ijtihad, we mean مَنْ أَجَادَ فِي فَهْمِ الْأَخْبَارِ, the one who can understand hadith better. مُطَابَقَةً وَالْتِزَامًا. Because we have three types of meaning: al-ma'na al-mutabiqi, al-ma'na al-tazmini, al-ma'na al-tazammuni, al-ma'na al-iltizami. Means direct and indirect meaning, implicit and explicit meaning of hadith. Sometimes hadith says something, but it implies another thing. Who can understand hadith better? Isharatan wa talwihan, sometimes can be just hint. They should get these hints. وَفِي فَهْمِ أَنْوَاعِ التَّعَارُض, he must know that there are different types of conflicts that can happen among hadith. You cannot just find one hadith, even if it is authentic, and give fatwa. Maybe there is a conflicting hadith. And then how to put them together, jam'. How you can put these hadiths together. We have ta'adul wa taraji, which is helping us how to decide. وَفِي الْجَمْعِ بَيْنَهُمَا بِإِعْمَالِ الْقَوَاعِدِ الْمُقَرَّرَةِ لِذَلِكَ. You must know how to bring them together according to the rules that help us to understand what Urf does. When Urf hears two different things from a speaker, if they have Jami' Urfi, we should go by Jami' Urfi. These are, of course, technical discussions. Then he says, أما أكثر الاستنباط وزيادة الاستخراج لا مدخلية له. It doesn't need to be a person who has, for example, done ijtihad of 10,000 mas'ala. We say, okay, he has done 10,000 mas'ala, another person has done 1,000 mas'ala, so this is more knowledgeable. No, it's not a matter of quantity. Many of our maraji, maybe actually their fatwas, when they were 50 years old or 70 years old, didn't differ. Yeah? Because when you develop the skill and you work for a few years, after that your idea may not necessarily change. Even if you are working more and your new masail are coming, it's not that their knowledge increases. Sayyid Abul Hasan al-Isfahani, rahmatullah alayh, he says, وَلْيُعْلَمْ أَنَّ الْمِلَاكَ فِي الْأَعْلَمِيَّةِ هُوَ الْأَقْدَرِيَّةِ في فهم الأخبار واستنباط الأحكام منها وكونه أجود فهما للأخبار. He says the criterion for A'lamiyya is to be more capable in understanding hadith and drawing rulings out of the hadith and having more appropriate understanding of hadith. You have to train your mind so that you understand the hadith in the way that people of that time understood hadith. I cannot understand with 21st century mentality the hadith. Maybe the terms today have taken another meaning. An alim must be so familiar with the hadith of Ahlul Bayt that can understand what Imam Sadiq meant when he said this. What was understandable at that time? Like any field today. If today, for example, people interpret, for example, a Greek text which was written 2,000 years ago, how they interpret it? According to the modern Greek? Or they try to understand Greek which was spoken 2,000 years ago? Okay? So, a mujtahid must know what those hadiths meant at that time. Agha Ziauddin al-Iraqi, one of the students of Akhund Khurasani, one of the teachers of Ayatollah Khui, he says, Al-muradu min al-a'lam man kana ahsana istinbatan min ghayri. The one who can do better istinbat. Istinbat means to infer, to make conclusion about the ruling based on the sources. لكونه أقوى نظرا في تنقيح قواعد المسألة, because he is more capable in determining what rules apply here. Because we have many rules in fiqh. Which rules apply here? You remember we had qawaid al-fiqhiyya. What references are here? What Ahlul Bayt meant by these things. So, my, I think, conclusion is that it's very risky if someone today refers to someone who is not a'lam. Even if some mujtahids had the idea that a'lamiyya is not needed, you cannot follow them because you are taking risk. Yes, there is maybe one way. If you find the most knowledgeable mujtahid today and he says you don't need to follow a'lam, okay, that's fine. Yeah? If you find the most knowledgeable mujtahid and he says you can refer to someone who is mujtahid even if he's not a'lam, that's then a kind of exemption. Otherwise, we cannot take risk. We have to find out who is the most knowledgeable. How we find it out? If you are not yourself close to the level of ijtihad, you cannot find out. You should ask people who are mujtahid or at least close to the level of ijtihad, and you should also have a good inquiry. Because some people know all ulama, some people only know one alim. This is why I believe what we need to do is we should have, I hope inshallah this can happen in future, in every country, if not continent, in every country, we should form a council of ulama who live in that country, or maybe some of them live in that country, some don't live in that country. They live in the houses. We select a group of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 scholars and say, we are not able to do this, research. You are alim, but we as a community request you to do proper investigation, even when we don't need. We have alhamdulillah marja, but you should keep checking houses. Who are the maraja which are emerging, so that if God forbids, we lose our marja. we already have the system in its place that tells us in 24 hours, 48 hours, this is the most knowledgeable person, and we all follow. Instead of every person makes a decision on his own or her own, and they don't know. And in this way, we can also have a unity in the community. Inshallah, maybe in future, we can go for such systems that at the same time that we go for Lamia, and at the same time that every person is responsible. You cannot put responsibility on someone else. But you can use rational methods that you can say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, oh Allah, we had this group of experts and they gave me confidence. I think this is actually a better answer to Allah than you just make few phone calls or read few websites. How much time we have? No time? Okay. There are other issues, of course, about marja. One is also that the marja should be hayy, should be alive. Why? Because marja is not just narrator of hadith. A narrator of hadith like Sheikh Kulayni, rahmatullah alayh. If you know something is said by Sheikh Kulayni al-Kafi, you can trust. But marja is the one that has to help us with life scenarios, day-to-day affairs, issues that emerge. So we cannot do taqlid of a dead person. Yes, if you have been already doing taqlid, then here many maraja allow to stay. This means maximum would be one generation. Yeah? So I followed one marja and I continue after his demise. Even sometimes you must continue if the living marja says that you have to follow the previous one if he was more knowledgeable. There are technical issues here. But I cannot start taqlid with a dead person. I can continue my taqlid when someone passes away, but I cannot do taqlid al-mayyit ibtida'an. I say, I want to do taqlid of Sheikh Ansari today. No. With all the respect for Sheikh Ansari, we cannot do that. So, if you follow a marja and God forbid the marja passes away, you find out who is the most knowledgeable marja and ask him, what should I do? Should I stay with him? Should I shift to you? Or I have choice? Sometimes they may say, you have choice. Sometimes they may say, if that person was more knowledgeable, you have to stay. Or if the new one is more knowledgeable, you have to shift. So, anything you do is with the permission of the living qualified marja. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give long life to our marja and give them success, give them tawfiq, and may Allah inshallah help our hawzas to train lots of great scholars so that inshallah in future we would have always godly scholars who can lead us in every area of life, especially when it comes to marja'iyah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin.